All right, we're live. So anyway, so in today's stream, I'm going to try and get a little bit more progress on this stupid Battleship game that's literally the bane of my existence. And the current problem that we're facing is the ability to drag the ships onto the board, which should be easy, but it's not because of web development excitement, right? So that's kind of what we're going to try, and if I can solve that this stream, then I'll consider that a big W. But I'm thinking of doing... Yo, Akashi, how's it going? I'm building a Battleship clone. Yep, still that. It's taking me a lot longer than I thought. So, I apologize. Hi. The chat took a while to update. I don't know. Okay. You believe in me? Thank you. This dragging behavior is really what's getting me. Akashi, like, I don't know how, like, because the problem is just because of, like, web development being weird, like, getting the position of the div when I'm dragging it, I have no idea how to do that. That's what I gotta figure out. Happy Saturday. Yes, Jay. There might be an API. I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. Get div position for draggable. Get div position for draggable div, maybe? I don't know. Wishful thinking, yeah. Worth looking into. Because the thing is like, I set the draggable flag to true, so I can drag it around. But it doesn't, like, I can't, I don't know. If you look at the end of, drag and drop, it's annoying to implement. Yeah, that's I think this is going to be the last, like, or at least I hope it's going to be the last big hurdle of today's stream. Or this project, I should say. It needs to clip. Because, like, yeah, okay, you can create a draggable element. Yeah, that's not helpful. Does lock work? What do you mean by lock? There's jQuery, but that's not what I'm using. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. Z-index 10. I think the biggest issue is, like, so I have the draggable code within an object, right? And the problem is we need to have the event listener for the mouse movement attached to the document. And because that's true, if I create an event listener for the document, it can't grab the class properties that I need it to. On drag start and on drag end. Are those like built-in functions? Oh, it's an event. Okay. On drag start. Ah, okay. Dragged element enters the drop target. Okay. Alright, I'll leave this open and I'll work with this. Okay, so what we'll do is we have the event listener for mouse down, right? So when we click it, I'll work with this. Okay, so then what I can do is I guess I could just set it to a... Yeah, I can set it to a variable here. So I can say, like, this dot element dot on drag start. equals, I'll just do it like a function built into this function here. So I'll say console log drag starting. I'm just doing this to test the functionality. Using the add event listener method. I mean, I could also do it this way too, but I think this should work. Can't set properties of undefined. Why? Oh, because it would just be, it wouldn't be this dot element, it would be just this, no? Or e dot target dot. Just do an event listener. Maybe I don't even need this mouse down business. Okay, let's try this out. Okay, so that worked. And then I think there's a drag end too, right? So let's try that out. So the drag doesn't end until it snaps back to its original location. That's interesting. Now I need to somehow get the position of the div, right? So is there like is there an event that triggers when we're dragging it? On drag, okay. So let's try that. This dot element dot add event listener drag. And then let's get like the, this is messy for now, but I just want to test this. I need to get like the position of the element, right? So I wonder if we need to pass the event here. Page X and page Y, so we got, okay, so this might work. Oh, this looks promising, actually. That's true, that's true. But the thing is I want it so that, it only creates the ship on the board at the top left. Like, I don't know if that XY is the top left of this div. Right? But I mean, we can try it. But then don't I need, for each cell, I need to have some sort of like other property, right? Because the thing is I have this draggable element, but then I also have the ships on the board. So that's like the tricky part. On drag enter. An element is being dragged. The user starts to drag an element. So the ships in the dock are separate from the game? Yes, they are. That's how I implemented them. There are these ship draggable objects, which were essentially just going to be like... This might be a bad way of doing it, but I wanted to separate the code out from the ships themselves. Because it was going to be too confusing. I was going to use the ship draggable to create and transform ships in the game. In the game object. That was my thinking. That's kind of what I did yesterday. But again, I'm open to other ideas, because this might not be the best way of doing it. A Thanos situation in the sense of, like, the way I have it is inevitable, or I need to have the draggable ship within the ship itself. Because, I don't know. So we have this drag and drop API thing, and it's kind of... Yeah, exactly. Because the problem is we're going to have... Like, if I'm dragging this ship around, we're going to have on-drag enter and on-drag leave for, like, potentially 5 cells at a time, especially if I, like, have it like this, right? I appreciate you, Jasser. But yeah. I don't know. It's because I have everything cordoned off in objects too, which is fine. That's how I need to have it. But like, there's no like global state of these ships that's accessible from like the global context, right? It's kind of confusing. The other thing that I'm thinking for my sanity is to just implement the game, or whether I should, let me put it this way, whether I should implement the drag and dropping now, or if I should implement the game with fixed ship positions and then make the game work and then implement the dragging. I feel like that would be harder. Or I could just omit the drag and dropping altogether. I don't know. Because ideally, I don't want to spend, like, more than another 2 or 3 streams on this project. Because I feel like I'm just getting hung up on it. I don't know. Because the thing is yeah, like, dragging around objects, like, in theory is simple. Especially when, like, the examples have all of the variables in kind of a global context, right? But when everything's like kind of object oriented and like the draggable ship is its own object that then has and then attaches an event listener to the document, it's like it's all confusing. Oh, that would be interesting. So what if we just leave this for now, then we go back to the game object. And then what we can do is in the player, I was thinking of having, because, the other thing I did, Jay, was yesterday I implemented it so that ships on the board can be created but have undefined X and Y positions. So that works now. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe setting a random layout for, it's extremely earlier than usual anime. Yeah, I posted the schedule in the Discord today. Usually on weekends I stream in the early afternoon. Oh, you went through and watched that part? Nice. Yeah, so that's what I implemented. So I'm thinking of having a function that randomizes the location of the ships. That shouldn't be too difficult to implement. So I can actually do that now. Am I done with what? The chess? So what I can do is I can actually randomize ship locations here. You're currently learning Web Dev 2. Nice, Jasser. What level, what stage are you on? I think I'll do like randomize ship positions or locations or something like this. And then we'll iterate through the ships. Iterate through ships, pick random location until valid, then place. So we'll just do a simple method here. So we'll choose a random X and a random Y. Although I might need a helper for that. Random. No, okay, so let's go through this. So we have the ship X, the ship Y. So we'll choose a random X, random Y. Random let rand X equal math.floor math.random times 10. I think that should work fine. It's my thought on learning through a full stack web game. I think it's good. It's giving me a lot of good experience, Jasser. And we'll say let orientation. We'll just do this. Math.random is greater than 0.5. Ship orientation dot horizontal or vertical, otherwise horizontal. There. And then we'll say while ship dot is, because I need to check whether it's a valid position or not. So let me go to I think it's in the game board. Is valid ship position. That's how I've implemented this. So this transform ship function within the player returns true or false depending if it was a valid place, right? If it was a valid location. So what we'll do is we'll say while not transform ship rand X rand Y rand flip. Right? Argument of type, as coordinate. There we go. And then what we do is if it's not valid, we just select new ones. Right? Select new positions until valid. You don't know how to learn from documentation? Can you guide me? Because I'm always learn first YouTube course. Yeah, exactly. It's not easy, Yasser. I would say like it takes a lot of practice to learn from documentation. But yeah, I agree with what Jay just said. That's also kind of why I'm doing the stream, so that people that also want to learn can follow what I'm doing, right? All right, and then this should actually randomize all the ship locations. For both, I think. Yeah, see? Oh, look at that. Perfect. So there's our random ship locations. Okay, so that code worked just fine. But then, like, we obviously need a way to move these around. Right? So the game, human player, computer player. I don't know why the... I think technically this should be drawing ships as well. I think the other... The computer should be drawing ships. This dot setup game init player ships. And then this just sets up the draggable ship objects. So this is like not really that important. New computer player. Extends player. Yeah, so I'm not actually 100% sure why there's not. Oh, because it's maybe targeting the same board? I don't know. This should be randomizing the ship locations on the other board. Is valid ship position. Init display. Well, we can check the elements anyway. So let's see, game board. Oh yeah, there's the x-axis and y-axis markers. Right, but the cells aren't actually being colored. Interesting. Game board cell. X0, Y0. Oh, Discord link expired. Really? Are you sure? Oh, maybe it has. I'll provide another one. I don't know why that happens. I set it to not expire. Just give me a sec, Josser. why the Discord links are expiring. They should not be. Okay. Try this one out. That should work. I just made a new invite. Again, no idea why they're expiring. I can't figure out why this isn't. Computer player. Init player ships. This dot create ship. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the ships aren't appearing on the other board. Maybe because because in here the game board we're creating the game cells. And then the game cells should be fine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I could just make these both players. Still nothing. I don't know. There's probably something hiding somewhere that will fix that. Because, I mean, I don't want the opponent's ships to be visible, but I do for, like, debugging purposes. How am I referencing the board for the ships to be placed? So, the human player and the... So there's the overarching game class, right? So there's a human player and a computer player, and both of them are player instances, which I'm actually going to separate into human player and computer player child classes eventually, because the way that they take turns is going to be different. But in here, they're both players, and then in the constructor of the player, they have their own player board, which is what you see visually, and then their own list of ships, right? Oh, you know what it is? Set up game init. Oh yeah, never mind. No, we're good. Okay, so then that's where the player board's being referenced. And then in setup game init, I'm running the init player ships function for both the human player and the computer player objects, which is this function that creates all of the ships I need and then randomizes their locations. So theoretically, it should work. because the transform ship function references the board of the current player that called that function, right? So I don't know. We should be seeing both boards populate. Yes, we should. That's what should be happening, Jay. That's what should be happening. But I'm not seeing that, and I'm not 100% sure why. I mean, I see the player board, so I know that the randomized ship function works because the ship location is being randomized here. So this is fine. It's just there's something that's hiding the... And I wonder if it's in the game board draw. Because I would think... Because we refactored the game board object to handle the drawing, right? So I wonder if it's in the update board... No, because the board's being drawn itself. So I don't think it's this. I think what I need to do is I actually need to print the... Let's just do this. I love my console logs. This dot computer player dot player board dot board. I know that's a lot of dots, but that'll be something. So we'll see if the board is populating anything. Yeah, okay, so this is our opponent board, right? Yeah, so it looks like our opponent board is actually being populated by stuff. Right? Like we have a ship at this position. It's got length of 3. Let's see. Coding agent. You mean like AI? I'm not interested in AI for learning. Yeah, so the game board's actually being populated. It's just not being drawn, which is the tricky thing, right? So I don't know why they're not being drawn, because they're being created. Init player ships. Oh, am I doing something? Wait a minute. Am I updating the board somewhere? No, it should be updating in here. So when I transform a ship location, it should update the board. Right? So what if I just draw the... What if I get rid of this briefly? So the computer player is drawing on top of this board. What the what? That's so weird. They should be creating 2 separate player instances. Huh. It's only updating player shit. Yeah, so it's so weird. So that's what I thought. So the human player board and the computer player board are drawing on the same board. Line 34? No, that's for these. That's for these, Jay. These shouldn't have an impact. That's for these draggable ship things. So this doesn't really matter, right? Christopher, I could give you a more comprehensive answer. I think you're misunderstanding maybe a little bit what this stream is about. I'm just trying to learn development. I am not trying to like be a industry superhero or anything like that. And I think to learn, regardless of where the industry is, you have to learn how to actually program so that when the agents screw up, you know where you can actually diagnose problems. It's just like there's an analogy where, like, you know, pilots of airplanes can, you know, use 99% autopilot, but they still need to know how to fly the plane in case of an emergency. That's kind of where I think the industry is. I don't know, but I don't work in software development right now, so I'm not too concerned about that. But I appreciate your take, or your opinion on that. So I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Jay. Again, I'm not opposed to never using them. I'm at an earlier stage. Because in my opinion, I don't think it's valuable to learn how to coordinate agents when you don't even know how the agents are talking anyway. Right? That's kind of like you're putting the cart before the horse, I think. A little bit. But that's just my opinion. So, okay, so this is drawing to the wrong spot. Now, let's go to the game board. I wonder if it's because... No, because we have two game board divs, right? Create element, game board div. Oh. So the game board div being attached to... Oh, no, it is. Okay. So we initialize the display and the constructor. So there should be two game boards, right? Yeah, we have two game boards, okay. This game board and this game board. Oh, I think I see the problem. So... we need to get... when it's selecting the cells, it's not selecting the cells in the right game board because these are both named game boards. So it's always selecting the first... That's what's happening here. That's what's happening. It's with these... this logic is defunct. So essentially, this query selector is only ever selecting... because there's duplicate, like there's like game board cells with x1, y0 in both of these, and we're not specifying which board it should be selecting. That's the problem, right? So it's in this update display function. Because the board draw is fine. Like we have two boards. It's in this part where we're selecting which cell to add the ship class to or not, right? So we need to update this query selector. That's the issue. So I need to think of a way to differentiate these values. I wonder if I can add... like game board cell, and then like whether it's the player or the computer or something, right? Or whether it's the human or the computer. I need to add some sort of identifier here. I could also just do a number. I'm just thinking about the best way to do this. Dot class name is game board, and then maybe we give it an ID or something like that. We could give the game board an ID. Private ID as like a number. And then we could just make the ID like, you like it? Okay, cool. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just make the ID either... Or we could just pass it in. That's what we'll do. We'll pass it in as to the constructor. So what we'll say is we'll say ID as a number, and then we'll say this dot ID equals ID. Okay. And then private ID number, and then so the game boards have IDs so that we know what to target when we're drawing, right? So what we'll do is we'll do game board, and then this dot ID, and then when we add the cell, we'll add the ID as well here, right? And then when we do the selector here, we'll put this guy here as well. Now this should target the right cells, I think. I'm fairly certain. And then now we just need to update the player code to add the ID, but the player itself is going to need an ID, isn't it? Because when we create the player in the game object, we're going to need an ID. So we'll just do that. The players will have their own IDs as well. Or, actually, even better idea. I think we can overwrite, so we can do like, how do we call everything in a constructor except for one line? Like, can I do this? I wonder if I can do this. So I can do super and then do this dot player board is new game board. No, this probably doesn't work. Oh, it's only accessible through player. Okay. Or I could just provide an ID here. But it's kind of defeating the purpose of... Probably don't need these subclasses anyway. Let's do it this way. And then we'll add IDs here. So we'll say 0 and 1. Game board cell 1. And then when we draw the board, we're going to get in trouble. I can actually do it like this. I think this actually works. Okay, and then the drawing is going to be bad because the game board cells cannot be drawn. or something. No, it's not. Or maybe it can't find. Maybe it can't find cells here. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so it can't find cell. This query selector is not working for some reason. Why? Gameboard cell -1 X. Yeah, so why can't it select this? That's the weird thing. Gameboard cell 0. Is the game board properly created? Yeah. Should be. Because we populate the game board with a bunch of game cells here. Again, I think the board is fine. I just think that it can't access the divs for some reason. I think the selector isn't working. Game board cell this .id. Document.create element. Cell.append child, yeah, so I can get the cell. And then update display. This.gameboard div.append child, that works. Then when we update the board, we update the display. Is it class name versus ID? I think it's... Oh! There needs to be a period there. That's why. That's why. Oh, never mind. No, it isn't. I'm adding it as a class. I am adding it as a class. Yeah, the DOM structure looks good. So if I go to the game and then I go to the game board, you can see the cells are here. But they're not being drawn. Oh. It's because in the CSS, our target changed. Because it's not game board cell anymore. It's game board cell. Okay, I see. Okay. So you know what I'm actually going to have to do is I'm going to need to change this to... It's because the target changed. Or the selector changed. That's why. The CSS doesn't know what it's looking for anymore. So you know what I might actually do? I might actually add the ID to the X and the Y instead of the game board cell itself, just to make this easier. So I'll say X this.id, and then dash, and then the location. So then this will actually be better. Okay, so this should actually work, right? Okay, better. Okay, we have something appearing now. Yeah, exactly, Christian. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so now this isn't drawing as a grid, but we have shit appearing. Okay, so this is kind of working. Oh, wait, because we didn't... It's because we didn't save this? No. Okay, so we have shit on here, but it's not... Game board this ID. Oh, because the game board as well can't be targeted, right? That's why. There we go. Got it. Okay. It's because it's because it was messing up the selectors in the CSS. That's why. That's why. Got it. Yep. All right. We're good. Crisis averted. So now we have the different boards, right? Okay. Cool. Now what do we do? I don't know. Should we go ahead and try to beat our heads against the wall to get the dragging working, or should we proceed with just making the game work? Because I don't know what I feel like doing. I also need to go back into here. This was just for this was our little draggable ships. Oops. Make it work first? Okay, alright. So I was thinking maybe if we... Oh, making the game work. Okay, yeah. Okay, sure. We can do that. So I'll leave these down here. These don't really do anything. Okay, so then what we'll do is we have to obviously affect the game. We have to we'll make the game work where the ships are visible on both sides. Just for debugging purposes. Okay, so then we need to have like a start game button or something, right? So we could probably add that within the game. Or even within the index, like the HTML here. We could probably add a maybe even in the settings. Some button down here that lets us start the game. I'm gonna get rid of these ship selectors because we don't need them right now. So we've got our start game here, and then when we start the game, this button should disappear, or at least be hidden, and then we can actually like click on the... And then we also need like a turn management as well, right? So, player, we have the create ship, transform ship, send and receive attacks. And so the event listeners for the clicking the cells will be in the... Is it in the game board? Yeah, it is. For the display. Right? So... we would only want to add the event listeners to the opponent's side, because the computer is going to be making moves on the human board. So I need to figure out a way to handle that, maybe. So init display. Yeah, no worries, Jay. No worries. I'm just thinking about the best way to handle this, because I don't want to be haphazard about this implementation. I also wonder if the game board should have a reference back to the player parent it belongs to. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, we can add the event listener here anyway. So we can say cell.add event listener, click. This is just going to be default. Although I should probably make this maybe a separate function, like register hit or something. But then that would need to get back to the game, right? Would there be a conditional statement somewhere in there? For what exactly? Because, okay, so let's screw the registering the clicks for this second here. Let's just get the game state switch working. So we'll say start game button, HTML button elements. Button dot start. And then we'll add an event listener to this. And then I'll go on break. Actually, I'll do that in the constructor. Click. And then we'll just game state. Oh, but it doesn't know what this is, right? That's the thing. Because this, in the context of the event listener, is not this game object. So that's going to be tricky. Well, I'll have to figure out how to get access to that game object. But, yeah. Because when we click this, we want our game state to go from, because we have 3 game states. We have the setup phase, where you can like move your ships around. We have the playing phase, where the game's actively, like there's turns happening. And then there's like a game end, where the game's over and no one can do anything. And then it'll kind of loop through, like however many games you play, it'll go from setup, playing, end, setup, playing, end. Kind of thing. It as like a state machine with like three nodes, which just go in a loop, kind of. And then we need to have obviously a game state management function that runs, you know, frequently. I don't know. This is it's not trivial, I'll tell you that. I'm wondering if we, instead of making the cell, because the cells, okay, so let me break down how this is structured. So we have the game object. I actually have a draw.io file here. Let me see. So we have the game object, okay, and then the game, it has 2 players. It has a human player and a computer player, and then the players have their own game board, which is actually what you see on the screen, which manages the state of the board, and a list of ships on the board, okay, and then the game board is made up of game cells, which can track whether or not it's occupied. That cell is occupied by a ship, And if it is, it draws it as this aqua color, and whether or not it is hit, right? Whether or not that cell has been hit. So we can track hits versus misses depending on whether or not the game cell is occupied. So if the game cell is occupied and it's hit, then that's like a ship hit. But if it's not occupied and it's hit, then that's a miss. You don't know what's happened. You've lost motivation with the Odin Project, but you don't want that. You know what you could do, Stuns? Because, like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I understand how you feel. Because, like, this project has kind of put me through the ringer a little bit. You know, I've been on this project for almost a week now. Actually, a week. I think a week. And what I would suggest, maybe, is... I mean, I'm persevering through it, but, like, just move on. Don't finish it. Just move on to another thing. And then revisit it later, because I wouldn't get hung up on that. Like if you're frustrated about the sign up form, then just like continue forward. Maybe even start the JavaScript if you want. Like you don't have to complete it linearly. I'm completing it mostly linearly. But you already done that with the calculator. I mean, it doesn't matter, Stuns. Like you can learn it at your own pace, right? I would just jump into the JavaScript course and start with that, and then revisit it. Because you're on the intermediate HTML CSS course, right? Yeah. I would just move on to the JavaScript. And just go from there. That would be my advice. Because, like, I mean, after the sign up page, I don't remember what is in the intermediate. Yeah, like, not much. You just have CSS grid left. It's, like, not a big deal. Especially if you're, like, feeling unmotivated about it, right? Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do, Stuns. That's what I would do. Don't get too hung up on that. Because it does kind of get to be, like, a slog a little bit. Okay, so, for this event listener, I need to figure out how to grab the... Because obviously I want to change the game state when I click the button. But when I click the button, the event listener function is in the context of the button and not the game. Right? So I need to... Because I know I could use, like... There's, like, the bubbling thing, but the game object is not on the DOM. Right? So I can't really, like, capture it on the DOM. I'm just thinking about how to change the state of the game based on whether or not the button's clicked. I also need to check whether the current state is game setup, because I don't want to make... I only want to go from setup to playing, right? Yo, Game Boy, how's it going? Long time no see. I know my stream schedule is not the best for your work, but it's nice to see you around. I hope you've been doing well. Ooh, nice. Got your PC fixed, and your friend brought you... That's a power supply, right? Nice. That's awesome. Nice. Yeah. It is your weekend. Right on. Right on. I'm just trying to think about how to manage this game state, because this... with me, Stuns? I don't know. This project's kind of killing me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It's kicking my butt. But you know what? That's part of why I'm documenting my process, to show you guys that this shit isn't always easy. Right? You know, again, no disrespect to people who want to use AI to solve problems. I agree. I think that it's becoming more and more ubiquitous to use AI, but I want to learn for myself so that I understand. This is mostly for new people coming in. I know everyone that, like people that have been here longer know that like my stance on AI, but yeah, no, I want to learn it myself so that when I eventually do use AI in some capacity, I can actually have more knowledge to direct the AI. The learning never stops. Yeah, it's good. I don't want it to stop. But yeah, it's like the pilot analogy. It's like even though pilots use autopilot 99% of the time, they still need to know how to fly a plane. And I feel like especially with critical systems and other very critical, like safety critical software projects, like especially in healthcare or, you know, any sort of engineering, like knowing how to code is still going to be very relevant. I don't know. That's my opinion. I feel like you suck at coding even though you do it a lot. Yeah, so do I, Game Boy. Don't worry. I feel like I suck too, because like I can't even like figure out how to get the event out of this. Because if I pass in, I guess I could read the attribute or something. I could change some sort of attribute on the button, and then check whether or not that attribute is, I don't know. Your knowledge is in data science. Nice, Christopher. I actually I work in IT full time, like Monday to Friday. So I do like a bit of like support. Yo, how's it going, Nimit? I do like a bit of like help desk support. I do a bit of systems administration. I do a bit of database administration. And like I just know that in my job, AI, especially with working for the government, AI is not going to replace me. What is my graduation? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I need to get some sort of I need to get trigger function in object from event listener. I feel like this is the tricky part. Create event object. Because I could create an event on the object, but I don't think that works because it's not on... The game object's not on the DOM or anything. Because I could create a new event, right? Oh, sorry about that, Nimit. Yeah, I just Nightbot doesn't like caps. Doesn't like all caps. Being in IT as you learn how to program is a great. Yeah. Job market for juniors rough. I know. Believe me. But I do have a solid position at the agency I'm with currently. So I'm not, thankfully, yeah, just as long as you don't use caps, Nimit, it won't trigger the auto mod. But yeah, no, as long as I you know, stick with my current job, I've got a solid employment. So I'm not too worried about that. Because I want to attach an event to... Okay, this is like outdated. No, that's not it. No, that's where it was before. Because I need to... The event listeners are only on the DOM, right? And the game object's not on the DOM. That's the tricky thing that I'm running into here. How common is jQuery? I don't think it's very common. I know it's older, Stuns. Like jQuery was around like you know, 20 years ago. It was like pre React and stuff like that, right? At least that's my understanding. Can I give you some advice because you want to get into sector computer science engineering? You said you were an undergrad though, right, Nimit? So I would just say like learn, like do some coding like on the side of your, like if you're already in an undergrad degree, like you're on your way, my guy. So I would just continue to do what you're currently doing and also do some, if you can, do some coding on the side as well. Like whether you use the Odin project, like what I'm doing, or, you know, just coding your own personal projects. That's how I would approach it. It's just this managing state thing is really on my ass, but it's good experience. Because I think if I do like this dot game state, this isn't gonna, this is the wrong this, right? It's not bound to the right. So if I click start game, oh, it works somehow. Maybe it's fine. Then I can just do this then. If this, or what if okay. Maybe I'm overthinking this. If this dot game state is game state dot setup, then this dot game state equals game state dot playing. Okay, and then just start game. So now our game state should go from 1 to 2, right? Actually, I'll just add a breakpoint here. If that even does anything. No dawn breakpoints. Okay, I'll just leave it. Hold on. Let me catch up on chat. Just let me just need to make sure this works. Okay. Oh, is this game.js 33? Oh. Ship select container. Oh, because I didn't click start game. Undefined. Oh. So it's undefined now. Interesting. But if I add the event listener here, then it can get that context. You only know about Python a little bit? Let me catch up on chat. You're from India, so in India we have school till 12 standard. You have to choose a stream, which likely currently I don't. I don't know about coding that much. You can learn though, Nimit. It's not too bad to learn. Like especially if in school there are courses you can take that teach you. I would take those courses. Yeah, exactly, Game Boy. That's what I'm doing. Building in public. That's kind of why I have this YouTube channel. And that's also, again, that is a valid use of AI if you want to do that. I just like challenging myself. And again, I'm doing this mostly for like hobby as well. Like I have a job that's fine. It pays the bills. So I'm in a unique position where I don't have to rapidly adopt the bleeding edge industry tech because I am hurting for employment, right? I'm doing this like I would say maybe like 50% for fun and 50% for my own professional development. If that makes sense. So, I don't know. Okay, so when we pass it a function, it doesn't understand what the game state is. However, if I do it as a direct function here, then this should work. And I don't really know why that is. It's probably because the this context is weird. There's probably something to do with binding the this or whatever. Because this should work now. Yeah, see, now that works. Okay, so this is fine. So we can keep this like this. I don't mind having it just built in there. Okay, so now when we press start game, the game state changes from setup to playing, which is what we wanted. So we're good. And then we can do this dot start game button dot style dot, I think it's visibility, so we can hide the button after we press it, right? Oh no, it doesn't like that. There we go. Okay, so after we start the game, it disappears. That's what we wanted. I appreciate that, Christopher. I'm sorry if I came off a little rude earlier, only because like I get some AI hype bros in here, and I don't like the AI hype bros, but I totally respect your position, and I appreciate the subscription. But yeah, no, it's all good. What's my thoughts on learning through working, which is learning to code while also creating real projects? I think that's good. Once you get to a certain level, Game Boy, I think you shouldn't worry about doing that at the beginning. Like, I'm not at that beginning stage yet, right? So I think once you're at an intermediate stage, that's a good good way to do it. Hi, Bren. How's it going? I appreciate that, Nimit. Which language did you start from? I would start with Python, Nimit. How long have I been coding? In any sort of a serious capacity, 2 months. Chronicle. But I've known how to code for like 3 years. Yeah, in any serious level. I taught myself how to code kind of when I was a kid. Long time ago, but I didn't really I wouldn't say I knew how to code properly. You want to try to implement as much time into coding every day, but I feel like just no matter how much I do, it doesn't seem to stick. That's fair, Game Boy. Honestly, if you think that would help you out, it's worth going for. It's worth giving it a go, I would say. I can also do like e.target or something. But no, I don't really give a shit about this being like possibly null, right? So that's fine. Okay, so then okay, so then the game state is playing, right? And then we can add the clicking shit. So how are we going to manage that? So we have the players. You can send attack and receive attacks. Opponent, player, coordinate. Okay, so then we'll have a turn. Private. Current turn is a player. And then we'll say this dot current turn equals this dot human player. And then we need to somehow get an event listener for these game cells, right? That's the tricky part. You learned HTML, CSS, JS. What do you think I should learn next? I would start learning frameworks, Cal. So like maybe jump into React if you want to do front end, or maybe learn Node, or even like Python backend frameworks if you want to do backend. That's where I would start. And that's kind of my plan too, because I'm still working on vanilla JavaScript. Okay, so we have our current turn. And then I need to, this is the tricky part, is the game cells. Actually, it's not, it doesn't matter about the game cells, it's the game boards. So the game boards are actually what's being drawn here. So the thing is, I think I need to have some sort of event listener that when a cell is clicked, it can be captured by the game object, right? And then we can register the attack, I guess. Or we can send the attack, right? I don't know if that makes sense. The only thing is I don't know how to send like so okay, so we have our game board cells, okay? And when we click it, we want to check whether that cell has been hit or not. If it hasn't been hit, we want to send an attack to the opponent, right? That's what we want to do. That's easier said than done. I just have to think about how to do that. Because we have our send attack and receive attack functions. And we also need a turn indicator as well. But we can worry about that after. Just trying to think about the best way to implement this. What I can do is I could do this within the game object itself. So what I can do is I can say I can have another method called playing game init, which sets up the event listeners for the game cells. This might not be the best way of doing it, but this is the best way I can see to do it for this project's context. So I can call this dot playing game init here, right? And then what we'll do is we'll iterate through the, put this board size variable in here. Iterate through the game boards. So we'll say for let I equals 0 I as coordinate, I is less than this dot board size okay, and then what we'll do is we will get the player board. Player board. Is that defined anywhere? Player game board equals this dot human player dot or human game board. I'll call it this dot human player dot human or dot player board, and then the computer game board. And then I will need to select, so the board has, oh wait, no, that's this, okay. So the board has its game board div element here. And then I'll get a getter for that. How could someone say, like, I'm confident with JS, because even if I learn most of the time, I still don't get solutions to problems on JS? Well, it's kind of for you to decide, Cal. Like, do you feel confident with it to then use JavaScript to learn a framework, or do you feel like you need more practice? Because if you need more practice, then, you know, building these projects like I'm doing in vanilla JavaScript is, like, kind of teaching me a lot about JavaScript. So I would say that's useful. If you feel like you need it, and if you don't, then I mean that's totally up to you, right? It's kind of your call. There's no right or wrong time. So okay, so we have the game board and the computer game board, and then I need to get the cell. And then add an event listener to that cell, I think, right? Okay, so I'll take a 5-minute break. What Apple computer do I have? I have a MacBook Pro M4 with, I think, 512 gigabytes of hard drive, SSD. You think you're in tutorial hell? The way to break out of that, Cal, is to fight through building things on your own. So try to use the tutorial as little as possible and build shit without it, because that's the best way you're gonna learn. Like, even if you're stuck, like I've been stuck on this Battleship project for a week, right? I think the RAM is the base, so 16 gigabytes. I got the base model. Base model M4 Pro. Yeah, no, you just gotta build shit without tutorials. It's gonna be hard, and you're gonna think you're not progressing, but trust me, it'll be better in the end. Like, again, I've been on this project since day 39, today's day 45, and I don't even have really much to show for it. But, you know, we're getting there. You love coding, but it never loves me. Exactly. That's how I feel. Yeah, no, I should, now that you mention it, Ericos, I should put my computer specs in the description, because people might want to know that. But no, it's not like a powerful machine or I mean, a MacBook Pro is a good computer, but it's nothing like crazy. I do also have a gaming PC that I built a couple years ago using a tutorial. So, you know, not a pro computer builder or anything like that, but I use it purely for gaming. I don't use it for anything else. Because Windows is ass. I use everything else. I use like coding, general computer use, etc. I use my MacBook. But yeah, gaming just isn't there for Apple, unfortunately, Mac OS. Although I'm thinking of switching my gaming computer to Linux at some point, if I can get away with it. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You're welcome, Cal. But I appreciate that you think my advice is good, because I don't know if it's good or not. 16 gigs of RAM, Ryzen 5 APU. Oh, that's fair, Game Boy. That's decent, though. 16 gigs of RAM. I think the 16 gigs of RAM is kind of necessary. In my gaming PC, I have 32, which might be a little bit overkill, because I've never even gotten close to maxing it. But that was back before RAM cost, like... I built my PC in 2023, so... This was before RAM was, like, insane. But if I were to build another one today, I probably would only go with 16 gigabytes. Or maybe 24 or something, I don't know. Because I have 16 gigabytes on my MacBook, and I have no RAM issues whatsoever. That is a nice feeling, yeah. It's because I guess you did it. I mean, for big enough projects, I think you're going to want to do some, like, documentation of, like, your code so that you know what's going on, but... Yeah, the market's crazy. You can thank all the AI assholes out there for that. The billionaires. Not to get political, but, you know. I think the AI market is a complete shitfest. But that's, again, AI as a tool versus AI as a hype machine are two different things. Okay. Alright, so we have our human board and computer board. 32 gigabytes of RAM for your mini PC costs over $120. That's it? That feels cheap. I don't know, but that's also American money. I feel like RAM is like, I thought it was way more than that. Okay, let's do this. So we have our game board, and we need the cell. And then this .id is humangameboard.id. And then I need to be able to get the ID. We need a getter for that ID. I think I actually only need the computer cell. Computer... Because we're only going to send attacks... set up listeners for computer board cells so player can send attacks. So now we have the cell. We need to figure out what to do with it. Am I afraid of AI? Oh, it's laptop RAM, so it's cheaper. Okay, hold on. Let me go back through chat here. Okay, so Cal Control. Do I think AI will replace developers? No, but I think that developers will be increasingly using AI. Probably. However, I think the need to learn how to code is not going to go away. I think employers are still going to value candidates that know how to actually code themselves, so that if the AI doesn't work or, you know, doesn't do what they want, or doesn't do what you want it to do, you know how to go in and fix it. So that's my opinion on that. Laptop RAM's cheaper than desktop RAM. Did not know that. But that's good to know. Doing great progress. Am I afraid of AI? Not really. I'm not gonna let it scare me. I mean, maybe that's just cope. Okay, but I'm not letting it scare me. I've seen the AI. Like, if you were to ask me 3 years ago, I would be afraid of it. But now that AI has been what it's been, give or take, for like 2 to 3 years, I'm not afraid of it. I think it's kind of like gonna settle itself. Like, it's kind of becoming more established, but that's okay because we're understanding more what it can and can't do. And the people that say that, in my opinion, the people that say that AI is going to become like AGI and be like super intelligent and all that, I think that's all. I think it's fiction. I think that's all marketing and fiction, and it has not proven itself to be that. If you had asked me 2 years ago, I'd say I don't know because the technology was too new. But I think now that's kind of, you know, existed in this current form of LLMs for the last like 3 years. I don't think the industry really has an answer to those hype claims, right? I think it's kind of just gonna be what it is, and it's gonna be a tool that us developers can use. Kind of like, as I use the pilot analogy, I like the pilot analogy, where, you know, pilots need to learn how to fly a plane, even though autopilot pretty much flies the plane for them, right? Like 95% of the flight is done by autopilot, but that doesn't matter because, you know, what if the plane fucks up, the pilot needs to know how to fly the plane. That's kind of what I think about AI. Anyway, I know I'm getting distracted, so we can add an event listener to this. So I wonder if this is going to work, actually. Because does it not have... The game cell only has an occupied by and an is hit. I wonder if this will work. Computer game cell dot add event listener. Click. You don't like Python? I don't know why. Okay, well, what other languages? You could learn JavaScript if you want, Cal. I guess you were talking about learning JavaScript otherwise. I don't know why you don't. I like Python. I think it's good. Especially for learning. Okay, so we'll do this, and then we'll do. We need to send an attack to the computer, right? So we'll do this dot computer player dot send attack. Or wait. No, this dot human player dot send attack to this dot computer player at, I think, because the I is the, I think this I and these J's are flipped around, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it is. Okay. Document query selector. Unless it isn't. I think that actually should be fine. So I wonder if this will work or not. And then we send an attack. We receive an attack on this, and we update the board. Right. And then we update the board. We go through this is hit. Player, and ship.take hit. If hit is not undefined, then this hit is hit. And we update. And then I need to change the styling of whether or not a board position is hit or not. That's why you start with HTML web stuff's nice. Nice, Kyle. Okay, so now we actually have to gameboard cell.hits. So we need to add the hit hit objects. So we'll actually go through a couple of variations here. So we'll say if it's a miss, then it's gray. But if it's a hit and a miss, then this will be red. So it's a ship hit, this is a ship miss. Ship not hit. Something like this. And then we can add the this dot board ij dot is hit. Then we add the hit class. I think this will work actually pretty well. So if we click, okay, so if we click, we shouldn't get anything, but we start the game. See, we can hit ships now. However, it's not changing the misses. Okay, that's good though. All right, okay, so we need to add. Gameboard cell.hit. Oh, you know what we can do? We can just add another. We can just call it like miss or something, right? So we can actually do that logic here. Actually, no, we don't need to. That's dumb. We can actually check for it outside of this. If this dot is hit, and then otherwise, and then else, we'll do an if. We'll do two if else chains here. Okay. Just doing some quick refactoring. And then this should be fine as this. And then remove. There. Okay, so this should work now. Start game. Okay, so it's not. Why? This dot is occupied by classless add. Else classless contains hit. Gameboard cell dot hit. Ship hit. So it should be empty. Like so if we click, let's refresh. so we click A1. Let's see. Game board cell X10Y. Okay, so there's no hit parameter here. That's probably because of where we're registering the hit. Const ship of ships. Receive attack. If ship X else. Oh, I need to update. I see. I need to toggle hit even if for that game cell, right? So I can probably handle that. So where's the class is actually being added? So we receive attack and then we update the board. And then we update the display. This dot board is hits. So we're only adding the hit attribute to okay, so you know what we'll do is we'll say this dot human player dot send attack. So we'll say constant was hit because this send attack will return whether or not the hit was successful, right? And if the hit wasn't successful, then I'll add computer game. So whoops, computer dot class list dot add hit. Then that should work now. So if it was a miss, then we still add the hit regardless. There. So now we see misses as gray. And then, oh, but then that makes them all disappear. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I think I need to refactor my game board update display here. Or even update board. I need to refactor update board. I think that's what I have to do. So what I can do is I can say, so we refresh everything and then we go through the ships. I don't know why the okay, so update display. Yeah, because when we then it disappeared, all the misses go away. I don't know why. Something to do with the display though. I think maybe just remove that condition. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. So now we've got misses and hits, right? Although the turns aren't working, obviously. But that's fine. We can get the turns working, no problem. Douglas MacArthur. They don't. You're the first to innovation. Well, there we go. So there's our hitting, and I think it's good that we didn't get hung up on the dragging the ships around shit, because this is better. Okay. So now we need to have turn management, right? So obviously we need to check the turn in here. Playing game init. So I need to think about how I'm going to manage the. Just assert that. I need to think about how I'm managing the turns. So if okay, so then we'll do this here. Playing game init. Ideally, I want the computer to. Okay. So we need to send. This might need to be asynchronous, actually, because I don't want the computer to take a turn right away. So I want to add a delay. I want to add a delay to the computer taking a turn. So in the computer player class, we're going to add its own function, take turn, right? But I want this to be async. And then we can do, there's got to be a way. Let me just refresh. Await timer JS. It's asleep, right? Okay, here it is. So I could do it like do like computer delay or something like that. We'll do like 1,000 milliseconds. 1 second delay before taking a turn. The async runtime is one of the good things about JavaScript, yeah. So we'll say await new promise. This would just be set timeout of this dot turn delay, and then this should just, and then we take the turn. So this should wait, and then we take the turn down here. And then we'll say we'll do this. So say let turn X turn X, turn Y, and then we'll say we need to make sure that it's not hit, right? So then we need to get the cell at that position. which is going to be interesting. Take turn. Computer game board.id. Because I'm going to need this query selector in here as well. However, I know this is going to be 0. This is bad. Turn X. Turn Y. Human game cell. I need to get actually the human ID. And then, so when we do the take turn for the computer player, we pass in the ID of the human player. I think that's a good way of going about it. And then we'll say if human game cell and human game cell dot, actually I probably don't need to do that. If dot occupied or is hit. Right, maybe I don't need the game cell. No, I actually don't. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I actually don't need this. I need the player board. Do I not? Although I could handle this, I could handle all this for ease of use. I could do this in the game. Maybe I should put this logic in the game. Oh, my mouse like died for a second. Building an AI opponent, that's awesome. Yeah, so I have logic for that innovation. So I'll show you. I'll actually, because we're about to go on break, I want to show you the flow that I have for this. The fuck happened to it? Okay, so here we go. So this is what I'm thinking. I plan this out. I have some like logic. So basically, we're gonna say start game. So this is our button right here, and we start with human player sending a hit by clicking computer board. Was there a hit? Yes. If all the ships are sunk, then the game ends. Otherwise, the human gets to take another turn. I did use freeform based on your discussion, and I like it more. So I appreciate that, Jay. And then so if the human misses, then the computer player chooses a random location on the board and sends a hit. If it wasn't a hit, go back to the player's turn. If there was a hit, checks whether all ships were sunk. If all the ships are sunk, then this is actually computer win, I think. And then this is human win. I had this backwards. And then if it's not, then the computer chooses an adjacent location to the last hit spot, because that would be smart, right? Because if the computer chooses a location it's hit, it knows it hit a ship somewhere. So if assuming the ship is longer than one length, it would be in an adjacent spot. And then if there's another hit, then check all ships sunk. And then if it misses, then it goes back to the start here. So that's kind of like my flow for the game turns, I guess. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So we're going to implement that. I'm actually thinking of doing the turn logic within the game object now that I think about it. Oh, and these would need to be human player and computer player anyway. So I actually might do that. I might bring this into the I might bring all this into the game. I think it makes more sense to be in the game. Because then we're not trying to access state weirdly. But I'll do that for granola bar. Yeah. It's nice, Cal. I kind of like it. I need to have a current turn display as well. I can't help but code on the break, guys. It's a problem. I just want to add a little text here to show the current turn. Yeah, I know. It's because it's like little ideas I have, and I need to implement them. So, oh well. Oh, nice innovation. What is TCP again? It's some protocol, maybe? Yeah, sure, Cal. I'll walk through it on my next break. I'll bring up my draw IO because I have the classes in here. But, oh, right. Okay. I got you. So that's like a lower level thing than innovation. That's like a... It's not like... It's pretty low level when it comes to like internet stuff or networking. Okay. So we'll do human turn. Whoops. And then computer turn. But I wonder if we... Because this is where the human's taking the turn, right? So I may only need to have a computer turn function. Might do human turn in it, because this is only for the human turn. Usually the kernel manages all that when you open a socket. Ah, I see. That's awesome innovation. That's really cool. If you're in our Discord, I don't know if you're in our Discord, but if you are, then you should definitely show that off in the projects section. If you don't want to, though, that's totally cool, but I'm sure a lot of people in my community would take value if you're willing to share. Would get value out of seeing that. Okay, so now we need to do the computer. Oh, I've lost the code, did I not? Hold on. Shit. I need to get that back. And then this needs to be async. And we'll do if. I'll just make this. We'll say if we need to set the turn too, because we have a turn variable. So our current turn starts as human player. And then we need to check whether or not it's the right turn. I'm kind of going fragmented here. Yeah, again, innovation. It's totally up to you. If you don't want to share, it's all good. This dot current turn dot human player. So we only want to do this if it's the player's turn. Assume for player human clicking computer board on their turn, or something like this. And then we'll say computer turn, and then I need to set the turn as well. This dot current turn equals this dot computer player. So we want to choose a random position. So what we'll do, I should probably set like a sleep. Could do a sleep, just a helper in here. Right, hold on, sorry. So that's a little better. So now we have the sleep as its own function, so we can call it multiple times. Which is good. Okay, so now we need to check whether the spot has been hit, right? Because if it's been hit, we need to choose a new location to pick, right? So we need to say this dot. Actually, need to get the computer board here, or the human board. This dot human player dot board player board. Yeah. So if human game board turn X turn Y What's the problem here? Human game board explicitly has any type. Oh, dot board, sorry. That's what we want. Let's do it like this so it's more clear. Dot occupied by is not equal to undefined, then we choose a new location. Right? Okay. And then we choose a new location. Or non-hit. So this needs to be his hit, actually. And then we will send a hit. So we'll say this dot computer player dot send attack to the human player at turn X, turn Y. And we'll say was hit, let was hit, and we'll say if was hit, while was hit. So then we'll say send attack to human board and loop by choosing adjacent random adjacent tiles actually there's gonna be a little bit more nuance in this. Because like how would a human play it? So if the human hits a ship, right? They would pick a random spot, then a random adjacent spot, and then if it's also a hit, they would probably choose a spot on either end of what they already hit. I don't know, but I don't know if I could make the computer that smart. It might be a little tricky. Oh, and I also need to update the current turn. Current turn div. Actually, I'll leave that till after. Might just implement this to send random find attack return coordinate and we'll say here a little convoluted. Just refactoring here. And we return coordinate, or no, turn X, turn Y. And then we will say let tack position coordinate equal computer find attack at nothing. Okay. And then I guess it'll just choose randomly until it fails. I won't make it smart yet. I'm just gonna make it work. Oh, then I need to make it sleep as well. Right. So that's good, and then we now flip the turn. Good. Actually, we probably need a toggle turn function. We can do that too. And then we'll also update the current turn label in here as well. So we'll do that. We'll do toggle turn. And then we need to get the selector for that, so we'll say, where's our index HTML? Turn display. Turn display, turn player. I'll say current turn actually. Turn and then I'll say this dot current turn div dots text content. Equals human or you. Okay. Nice. So we send an attack. Okay, so but this didn't update the display. Interesting. If that was a hit, that should have... This should be updating the display, but it is kind of working, right? Await sleep. Console.log. This dot, or no, attack coordinate 0, attack coordinate 1, and then was hit. What did the console say? 1-6 false. Oh, nice, Mimu. Yeah, the JS path is good. So 1,6 should be false, yes. 6.3 was false. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it was false. Okay. 6.0 also false. Oh, the computer did hit, but then it didn't do another hit after that. Oh, because I don't console log here. Oh, because I need to find a new attack, that's why, as well. That's why. Okay. Okay, so this is going somewhere. 0.3. Okay, come on, make a hit. Oh, good. Okay, so see how it did? See how it made a hit and then it did another one? Randomly? That's good. Okay, so we're getting somewhere now. Now, it's just the misses of the computer aren't showing up. Right? The computer misses are not appearing on the board. And I don't know why. So when we receive attack, update board, this dot player ships. Oh, because I'm handling the misses in this, aren't I? Not? Yeah, okay. That's the problem. I'm handling the misses here. Okay, so that's the issue here. I should probably refactor this. I think of the receive attack, I can add the hit regardless. May I ask why I chose TypeScript? You want to gain experience with it, or is it a personal preference? It's kind of both, Mimu. It's kind of both. I want to gain experience with it, but I also want to... use it because it's statically typed. I find it easier to keep track of things. And like keep track of errors and stuff like that because of the static typing. I'm just trying to think about what do I need from this? Human player.send attack, computer game cell. What else do I need the computer game cell for? Oh, for the event listener, of course. Okay. Okay, so then I need to be able to take multiple turns here. So... I need to get the computer game cells, send attack, IJ. So I need to fix this logic a little bit here. So let's just say if... Where are we adding the... If this dot board is hit... Ship is hit... Update board... I need to find where the is hit is being changed. It's probably in here somewhere. Ship.take hit. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna refactor. Alright. So I can go through how this code kind of works at a high level, because I promised I would on the last on the break. So essentially the class structure that I have for this game is there's a high level game object which manages the state of the overall game, right? It's kind of blown up a little bit. Okay. And then the game object, underneath the game object, it has pointers to a human and a computer player, okay, which are their own objects here. All right. And then each player has its own game board and its own list of ships, okay? So the game boards keep track of not only the display, but also the just the data of the game board, right? So where the ships are and whether or not a cell is occupied or not. So a game board is made up of game cells, which stores whether or not a current cell is occupied by a ship and whether or not it's been hit, right? And then the ships store their own XY coordinates, orientation, length, hit count, and whether they're sunk or not. So that's kind of like at a high level, that's how the project is structured, I guess, if that makes sense. Just for anyone new here that is curious, that's kind of like the high level. Yeah, exactly, innovation. It's split between the game, the player, and the game board. Well, and the ship, I guess, too. But the state is kind of in three separate zones. Like, there's the game, there's the player, and the player has the game board and the ships down here. And then the game board's made up of game cells. Well, the reason that the game board is each player has its own game board because like this is the player game board, and then this is the computer game board. So this is the one that the player is attacking, right? Obviously, I haven't made that clear like on the DOM or anything, like on the display, but I will at the end, like after I'm done debugging. So the computer sends attacks here, and then I send attacks over here. But I'm just trying to refactor the code so that game cells show computer misses as well. Right? So that's kind of what I'm working on after the break. And then I'm going to wrap that up, and then I think that'll be good for today's stream, and then it should be done, pretty much. Then we just check, basically, we check whether all the ships have been sunk or not. Like, each player has its own function called allSunk, which essentially checks whether or not all the ships of a player's board have been sunk. And then if they have, then the game is over, right? And then you can restart the game, essentially. And then the last piece is in the game setup, being able to move these ships around. That's going to be the pain in my ass that I'm going to leave till the end, because I spent the last like 3 streams trying to get that to work, and it honestly hasn't been the best. So yeah, I don't know how much longer I'll beat my head against the wall trying to get that to work, but if it doesn't, then I might just make like a randomize button down here. Then I can just randomize the ship locations, and then you can just click randomize until you're happy with the configuration and play the game. It's not ideal, but look up React D&D. It's a package that makes it a little easier. Yeah, but with React, would that work? Would that work with my existing project, Jay? Is the question. Because I don't have React configured right now, right? So let me see though. Yeah, it's React. Got it somehow. There goes that, yeah. I don't know, it's just the drag and drop of like the vanilla JavaScript is such a freaking clusterfuck, I guess. I don't know. It's so screwed up. Okay, so I'm going to do this little refactor here. I'm going to refactor the... Because basically, if I send a hit, when I send a hit to a player, I want to iterate, I want to change the board state to is hit anyway. So I want to say if this dot board player board dot board xy dot is hit is false, then I want to set it to true. Actually, I should probably do this with underline. We do that regardless of all this nonsense. Okay, so when we update the board, we update the board, we go through everything. Dot hit is undefined. I'll actually just leave this part out. I think that's fine. This board, ship x dot ship. Why do I even have the offset? What's the off for? Oh, it's for this. I see. Okay, so I don't even need this. I don't think I need this. I think I can just have this in the send receive attack function. Otherwise, I should return false. Because, why? Because if you're clicking a spot that's already been hit, obviously you don't want we don't need to check whether it's a ship or not, because it's already been hit. So it's either a miss or a hit, so it doesn't matter. But the problem with this is if we return false here, then we're not going to know that it was the attack wasn't received because it was a miss, or whether it's already been, or you're clicking a spot that's already been hit. I wonder now, actually, what we could do is for the computer game cell, whether we remove the event listener after we click it. And then that would, because we don't want to click, like if you're the human clicking the computer board, you don't want to be able to click a spot more than once. So we can just remove the listener after it's been clicked, right? The problem is, no, that's, Okay, get rid of this. If not was hit, then toggle turn. Okay. And then we remove the event listener. My story? What do you mean my story? And then I think here we can remove it, because we've already clicked it, obviously. Although we only want to remove the event listener if it was already our turn, right? So if not was hit, this dot toggle turn. Send attack. I don't think it matters on the state of was hit. I think we can just do this. We can just do computer game cell dot remove event listener. Click. Event listener or listening object. Removes the event listener and the target's event listener list with the same type. Callback and options. I'm just trying to, this won't work because I don't know how to target this event listener here. I don't know if I can remove an event listener within an event listener, can I? Pointer events none and add that class to the cell. I could do that. Yeah, you make a good point. You make a good point. Sure. Although, actually, no. You know what we can do? No. We don't need any of this. We can just also check whether or not the... Because if we've hit a cell, it has the hit as a part of its class, right? So if we can do if computer game cell dot class list dot contains hit, then return already been hit, early return. I think that works. I got this, and now I should go. I appreciate that, Cal. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, so we check whether or not, because I think that state is stored within the computer game cell itself. It has the it has the state stored in. Yeah, so you start the game, make a move, and then so then we'll make a move here. Yeah, see, this updates. Ah, okay. Okay, well, the computer display is still not updating with the... But I think now if I click the same spot, oh no, it does. It still It still toggles the turn. Computer game cell.class list.contains hit. What the what? Why did all the misses just all of a sudden appear? What? They weren't appearing, and then they... What the hell? That's weird. And also, when we make a hit, we have to... Oh, so it only appears when the computer makes a hit. I see. No, it wasn't that, Jay. The misses only register after a hit has been registered. So what I need to do is I need to update the board regardless of whether the ship was hit or not. That's the problem, I think. Maybe not. What? Update board this dot player ships. Because I guarantee you, if the computer... Oh, okay. Okay, now I'm like clicking shit and it's not. This is weird. Oh, but I would need to update the board after this, don't I? I could just do this. I need to update it regardless. But this is avoiding the ordering issue because... Oh, actually, you know what? No. We can just do this. I think that works. Could I return update board and send attack? I could. But I think this will do it. Maybe. So I need to update this too. Okay, so now the display is not updating at all. Oh, it's interesting. So the display is only updating when I actually make a hit. What is this? Or the... at least it's letting me make multiple hits at once, right? So if I miss, it doesn't update. But then when I make a hit, all the misses that I had from before are there. And now the computer just isn't updating at all, unless it's only had misses. The controls in the receive attack are blocking. Ah. This might be why. The early return. That's it. That's what it is. It's this early return here. That's part of the problem. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think this is working now. Yeah. That totally works. It's because it's a mess, but it works. Oh, Jesus, guys. Okay, that works though. I think it's fine. Yeah. So now when I miss, it goes to the computer, and then when the computer misses, it goes back to me. And then I make a hit, and it stays on my turn. And it goes to the computer misses. I mean, the computer's dumb, right? It's just choosing random spots. Yeah, okay. Alright, so the game works. The game works. And if I click a spot that I've already clicked before, it stays on my turn, right? If you notice that. Okay, guys, I think we're good here. And now we just need a end condition. And also we need to hide where the ships are on the computer board. Right? So that's basically it. So we'll do that somehow. We'll figure out how to do that. That shouldn't be that tricky. I need to hide the computer board positions. That would be done in the game board, probably. But I should probably also have game board cell, and then maybe a class if it's a so everything is managed in CSS. I'll have to hide them with CSS. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is adding another class to the. I need to check whether in the update display, I need to check whether the game board is the computer game board, right? So what I can do is I can have, this is kind of dumb, but we can do player ID, and we'll say human is 1 and computer is 2. And I did this starting at 1 so that they're both truthy, right? Let's get it. Yeah, Vortex. Computer player, human player, computer player. And then player ID dot human. I actually probably don't even need. That's not a big deal. I don't need these anymore, I don't think, but I'm just gonna keep them for now. I'll clean it all up later. Okay, so that's fine. Whoa. Player ID dot was not found in game JS. Import player ID. Yeah, it was. Oh, because I didn't save it. That's why. Okay. And then what I can do is in here. Not here. I can check that it's also, I only show the human ships, right? So I'll say and this dot board ij dot. I could also add, no. Oh no, it would just be this dot ID, would it not? This dot ID equals player ID dot human. There. So now the ships only appear on the human board. So now we can actually play. We can play. So it's my turn. So I missed. Although it should now go to the computer. Interesting. Why is that happening? I didn't change much here. Current turn. But if I miss twice, then it goes to the computer. Oh, weird. Oh, you know what? Maybe I am actually hitting, but it's not showing up because it doesn't have the ship attribute. That's what's happening. I'm actually making hits here, but it's not showing up as such because... Okay, so you know what I'll do? I'll just add another class. We'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. We'll also say if this dot ID is the computer. Add class to hide ships if computer ships. If they are the board contains. If the board is the computer's board. Then I'll add another cell. Although I only want it to apply if it's also a ship, right? So then I actually put this inside of here. Then we'll say computer. Okay. Now in the game board cell.ship.hit, ship.hit, and then game board cell.computer display. Oh, background color is just white. Although this won't work because why? Although that should be fine. Okay. Now I should get a hit here somewhere. Yeah, there. See, I got a hit. Okay. So I got that ship. Okay, guys, we're playing Battleship now. It's working. It's kind of gross how I've implemented it, but you know what? It does the job. The computer making random moves is kind of winning, actually. It is much faster. It's because the delay is like... well, there's two reasons, Jay. One is because the delay is only a second, and B is because... Or two is because I'm playing against a computer. I'm not playing against an actual person. Okay, so I sunk that ship. I could work on making the computer AI smarter as well, but... And I'm going to make this display nicer, too. And then we also, of course, we have to check when the game's over, right? Yeah, it is an actual person. If I go to the example, it does play. See, 74 players online. It is an online thing. This is good. So, okay, so the game is basically done functionally. It's not polished or anything, but it's done. Like, it works. Although I do suspect that because of how the AI is choosing a position, as the number of available positions decreases, this while loop's gonna iterate O of n squared. I don't think in this case it matters. An average time complexity of O of n squared and a maximum of who knows. Because it's just choosing random positions and finding one that's not hit, right? Or sorry, not with this spot here. Where am I looking? In this find attack method. So I could probably implement this more more intelligently. Space-time complexity. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I think I should refactor this to have so that we know like what positions are available, right? So I can refactor that. Refactor. I'll just like put this to only select among available positions, and then that's just another data type that I store, right? And we don't need to track that for this because obviously the person is going to know what is available and what isn't, but the computer doesn't, right? Wouldn't it be the same though because it has to read through both? I don't think so because this one relies on randomness, Jay. So theoretically, like let's say for sake of example that all of the computer's chosen all of the tiles except for one. Theoretically, it could try to find an attack forever if it never chooses the tile that's not been hit, right? So I think the 4 has to be up here. Maybe the 4 is here. Oh, it's another 1. Wait, what? How are there... Oh, maybe this is that's the 4. Okay, cool. Alright, so I beat the computer here. Yeah, because it's random. Yeah. Okay, so technically I beat the computer. Because I think these are all the ships. But I can check for that. I'll check for that after. So there's a couple things. I'll make a commit here. So I'll say git add. Oh, I need the code command uninstalled itself again. I don't know why that happens. I need to do this. This happens every so often. The code command uninstalls itself from path. What's up, bro? Blueberry, how's it going? We're about to end stream here, not too long. But okay, so we refactor and only select amongst available positions. Okay, so I git commit here. Now we'll say implement basic gameplay loop. Game state and turn control in game object or class. Display handling in game board class via player. Okay. There we go. So, we need to make... I'm actually going to make maybe some notes for next time. So I'll actually add a file. Or I don't know how I should do to-dos. I don't really have a good method. I could even actually I could add it to the freeform thing that I have going. Just gonna kill the deployment. Do I have the better comments extension? No, I do not. Better comments? Is it this one? $9.9 million. I would assume so. Better comments will help you create more human-friendly comments. Yeah, you know what? I might get this guy. That's a good. So now I can do. Okay, so what was the syntax for to do? Oh, it's just to do. I see. How am I representing the game board? I am representing the game board by using a table. So there's a game board class here, blueberries. And the game board is a table of game cells, okay? And each game cell stores whether it's occupied by a ship or whether it's been hit. And by default, you can initialize a game cell to be occupied by a ship. And is hit by default is false, right? So back on the file explorer, it'll show me all the to-dos. Is it outline? Timeline? No, that's like Git stuff. Yeah, exactly, blueberries. That's kind of how I did it. Code's a little spaghetti, but it's okay. It's not too bad actually. Where the files are. I don't see it in here. Let's actually read the documentation. That would be better. Can be configured in user settings. Underline, background color. Okay, so it can be configured, but where does it actually appear? You just built a 2048 solver in React? Oh, nice, blueberries. Yeah, you would need to have a you need to have a 2D table to represent the board state, right? Oh wait, is there no to-dos? Also, this test set is deprecated too. I need to fix the test set, or it's not deprecated, but it's out of date. So I need to update the test set. But I mean, do I want to? I don't know. Maybe I should. I might have to pin the extension. How do I do that? Can I pin it? Settings. Whether the plain text comment highlighter should be active. The way you did it was build a custom game state and then added the board as a number 2D array. Oh, nice. Nice, blueberries. Yeah, I did a... Yeah, that's fair, because I needed two things per cell, so I just implemented it as a simple class that stores two properties. Like whether or not it's occupied by a ship, or if it's hit or not. Here's the tags. It's an additional to-do tree. Okay, here we go. Let's try this guy. Ah, here it is. All right, cool. It adds like a tab here. That's kind of nice. Cool. That's kind of handy. I don't know if I'll use that all the time, but it's useful. It's useful for this because there's a couple things I want to do. I need to refactor the tests, right? Or not refactor, but I need to update them. So I'll just add that up here to do update test set, right? Because these test sets are all bad. I think that's it, really. And then we need to obviously do the... Are we going to do the drag and dropping? I don't know. I don't know if we want to do the drag and dropping, because I'm worried about how long that's going to take me. And I don't want to be hung up on this forever. I think what I'll do is I think next stream I'm going to polish off what I currently have done. And maybe add like a randomize button so that I can randomize the ship positions like this. Okay. And then I'll make the UI look a little better and then I'll decide. Odin says that it's extra credit if I remember correctly. Okay, yeah, so I don't have, let me see. Let me go back to what it says. It says it's extra credit. Yeah, so implement drag and drop. 2-player option. And then intelligence. We have an A already? Fair, yeah, that's true. So I honestly might... Oh, see? Okay, so it wants a system that allows players to place their ships. For example, you can let them type in coordinates for each ship or have a button to cycle through random placements. Okay, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking of having a button to cycle random placements. That I could do. That's easy. So I can implement that at the very least. And then I'll let chat decide when we get there if we want to try and do drag and drop for the ships. Because I just with the way I have it set up, I feel like it's so like screwed. I don't know. I just don't know because like having the ships be draggable, I don't know. I could also have an option. Okay, I have another idea, guys. I have one more idea, and I'll show you what I'm thinking. I could have a thing. So instead of having like ships that are drag and drop, what I can do is if I click a ship, okay, like let's say I have the ship on the board, okay, and we're in the start phase. We're in the setup phase. Where is the game? So we're in the setup phase, okay? Yeah, exactly, Jay. So you could tap this, and then it'll follow your mouse pointer around, and it'll find valid positions. So like if you click a ship, then the ship location will follow your mouse, and it'll move accordingly. And then when you click again, it'll place it, or something like that. You know what I mean? And then you can also rotate it by maybe right-clicking. Or something, or like I don't know how to rotate. But we could have some other way of rotating, or like maybe like when you have it in a dragged state, you can like toggle the space, like space will toggle the rotation or something like that. I don't know. We could think of doing that because then that would be easy. Because then we would just have to draw. There'd be no dragging and dropping bullshit. You know what I mean? Exactly. So like when you're moving it around, it would go green if it's a valid location, and then if it would be red if it isn't, and it would just follow your mouse pointer within the grid, right? And the minute that your mouse pointer leaves the grid, it would obviously not follow it anymore. So I think that's the way of doing it. I think that's how we're going to do it. I think that's better. That's like kind of a compromise. Because this other way is, with the drag and dropping, it's going to require a lot more work that I don't feel like is worth it. At least for this project. So I think I could probably realistically 2 or 3 more streams in this project should be finished. But no, so that's what I'll do. And I would write down what I just said, but I have it as a recording on this stream, so I don't need to actually write it down. How much guidance does the Odin Project give me? Not a lot, Blueberries. So it does give me some guidance. Like, you know, it told me to create a game board class with certain properties and a player class and stuff like that. But it's very open-ended in how you actually implement it. Yeah, there are more exciting projects coming up. Exactly. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I think next, we could even implement that movement stuff next stream too. Because now that I have that idea, I think that would be better. So I think next stream I'll do that. My next stream, by the way, is going to be Monday evening. I'm taking tomorrow off again. I have some stuff I have to do. I have a call with a good friend in the afternoon. And then I have other shit going on. So Monday night will be the next stream. Is this classic? What do you mean classic? But, yeah. So yeah, next stream Monday night, Eastern Standard Time, UTC -4. Yeah, tomorrow off. Good. I'm glad you can come, Jay. That's gonna be awesome. And then I think this week I'm gonna have the same schedule as I did last week. But then the week after I'm gonna be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday because I'm going out of town for Easter. So I'll be away for 3 days in a row. So that'll suck, but it'll be okay. You know, life happens, right? But anyway, all right. So I'll leave it there. I hope everybody watching this enjoyed watching for however long you watched for. I appreciate each and every one of you that's in this stream. If you want to follow me on my learning journey, I'd love a subscribe. That'd be great. But you don't have to. I appreciate that, Jay. I'm glad it was a good stream. And also I have a Discord. You can join, link in my bio. I'll also drop a link here. I know that some folks are saying that the link was, the invite was expired, but it shouldn't be. So yeah, join the Discord for stream updates and other things to share, you know, to talk about web development with people, share projects, stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be it. And, I'll see you all on Monday evening, hopefully.